Hello, everyone, and welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We are so excited. We have an amazing lineup of comedians, and let me tell you a little bit about what you are going to see. You're going to see a group of comics who have trained in a workshop together with the award-winning comedy director, the founder of the American Comedy Institute, and the author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, Steve Rosenfield. Now, some of our alumni have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan O'Brien, Saturday Night Live, Gotham Comedy Live, and Comedy Central. And they perform in the best comedy clubs all over the United States and all over the world. And we're very excited to be in our favorite comedy club, your living room, or wherever you're watching this. Yes, you are now the owners of a pretty awesome comedy club. So congratulations. I'm super excited about your lineup of comics tonight. Not only are they from all over the country, we have a few comics making their stand-up debuts for you this evening. So you are in for a treat. And my name's Michaela. I'll be with you all night. I'm your host. I'm actually in New York City currently. This isn't just my background. This is where I'm standing. I'm freezing. But I'm here, and honestly, the cold has been making me yearn for the earlier days of this pandemic where I spent in Florida. I was in warm Florida with my apocalypse buddies, my parents. Yes, Mike and Tina Fagan, ladies and gentlemen, they've watched Dexter thrice, all of it. They do not believe in global warming, and they love me. It was Mike and Tina Fagan. I had a great time, honestly. They do live in a 55 and over community, though. So I lived in a 55 and over community. And I must say, the view from their backyard across the man-made lake of my middle school was just beautiful. It made me wish I could paint and wasn't traumatizing to me at all. It was weird. But yeah, living in a 55 and over community was scary. I couldn't fall asleep at night because I knew I was the only fertile woman in at least a mile. And if this were to become a situation where we had to repopulate the earth, there would be a line of old men knocking down my door. So I had to establish the parameters of the competition that would ensue. Step one, you need an active driver's license to enter. Active. Then it would be a jitterbug tournament to determine their style, their flair, and endurance. Jitterbug. Then finally, bocce ball to the death. I would procreate with the lone victor. And I feel like everyone acknowledges bocce is the ultimate tale of a good lover. How good are they at bocce ball? You know, the winner would get a socially distanced early bird special at Boston Market with me. So I think that was the prize. It didn't happen, though. Thankfully for those men, I am back in New York City, and I do love New York City very much. I treat the New York City grid system like it is a game of Battleship where my goal is just to find Fran Lebowitz. And one day I will find her and I will say hello. I don't know what I'll do, but one day I'm going to put a pin at 24th and 7th. Boom, found her. Hello, new best friend. That's my goal with New York. New York is apparently a playground for the rich. That's what we're hearing it's becoming. I have to agree, although they are not the only people on this playground. No, we are the exhausted caretakers on the outskirts of the playground, eating dry Cheerios from a Ziploc bag. That's how I feel most days. Just watching them play, making sure they don't fall out of their residential skyscrapers. They're swaying back and forth up there. They're going up and down on I don't know if you call it a seesaw or a teeter-totter. They call it the stock market. They love that thing. And they always want you to watch them. They're like, watch me over here. Climb Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm past success. I'm well on my way to self-actualization. I run this city. Oh, it's a tough place to be. It's tough, but I do love it. I love it. I feel comfortable with you all now. I'm going to tell you a little secret about myself. Back in college, I was a lesbian. And I still am, because I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to give up. It's tough, but I'm in it to win it, you know? I'm in it. It's okay. I really should have known way earlier, though. I came out when I was like 18, but growing up, I really wanted to be a nun. I was like, hold on, that sounds fantastic. You're telling me I could live with dozens of women in a castle and never wear pants again? Maybe make some soap? That sounds so good. It was really something that I looked forward to ultimately. I'm not the only gay person in my family. I got really lucky. A very supportive aunt who helped me a lot, and her wife love to give advice. They are actually, I believe, the cornerstone of the New Jersey lesbian community. They have a great, strong crew. I won't tell you their names, but I can tell you there are at least 4 Debbies for some reason in that group. And they give great advice. It just feels a little outdated. They came out in like the 80s. It was a tougher time. And so I come to them like, hey, how do I let this girl know that I'm interested in her? They're like, okay, here we go. Okay, we got this. Step number 1, marry a man, wait 10 to 12 years. Just wait it out. Wait. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. They're like, no, you're playing the long game. Okay. Then at your weekly all girls poker game, go on up to your friend Debbie. I told you there's a lot of Debbies. Give her a kiss on the cheek. Just miss her mouth totally. Wait 10 to 12 more years. It never happened. Okay. Deny it. Deny. Then at your goddaughter's communion, Debbie will be there. She is like family. Go on up to her, kiss her full on the mouth, tell her you die for her, live happily ever after. In secrecy, tell no one, never tell anyone. Does that help? I'm like, no, but it explains so much about why I didn't know about you guys for my whole life. Thank you all so much. I'm really excited to be your host for this show. We have awesome comics from all over the country. You're going to love them. So everyone, please put your virtual hands together for your first comedian of the night from Thousand Oaks, California. This is the very funny Michelle Maluzaki.
Yay! Thank you so much. Michelle Maluzaki, the 17th wonder of Japan. I grew up in Japan, so I used to be fat. And now I live in America. I'm an Asian. I thought I was Japanese. I really thought I was Japanese till I came to America. And like, oh, you're Asian. So great. Now I'm a petite. I like how I look because often I could use selective hearing. When people ask me questions like I don't want the answer, like I don't know, how much do you make? I just stare at the person and they would assume that I don't understand. So they would say, how much do you make? Like earn? And I still stare with no emotion. And they just give up. I often a lot of times the solicitors come to my house, they'll ring a bell and I go out and they would try to pitch things that they want to sell, like, I don't know, bug service, religion. And I just, thank you, bye-bye. And they just give up. I love it. I mean, I never asked to buy newspapers in front of Trader Joe's. It's great. I teach Japanese at the adult school. And in Japan, we use a lot of English words in Japanese, like adult video. Adult video, that means pornography. So when I tell people that I teach at the adult school, everybody's interested. Adult school, yeah. What do you teach? Like Japanese style? Japanese position? No, I teach Japanese. That's what you do when you live in a foreign country and you don't have any skill and you don't want to learn any. I'm so glad that you made it here tonight. So I'll teach you some Japanese. Do you know how to say good morning in Japanese? Ohio. Say it. Ohio. Good morning. Yes. Oh my gosh, you are so good. Okay, I'll teach you how to say good evening in Japanese. Oklahoma. Now you could greet in Japanese. We use a lot of foreign words, English words in Japanese, and we also say like pipe cut, pipe cut, the pipe cut. This is when a guy has the surgery not to have the babies anymore. The pipe cut. That's what you do. I can't never remember how to say that word. Bisectomy? Bisectomy. Okay, bisectomy. Yeah. I can never memorize it because I never order it at the hospital for me. Everybody has like terrible mothers being a comedian. My mom is awful. When I was 16, she got me my first job. She's like, okay, I got you a job. It's a call girl, a call girl. She's like, you just spend 45 minutes and you make $80. 45 minutes and $80? What? Cash? I'm like, what? I mean, 35 years ago, that was $80 is a lot of money. Okay, I didn't do the math right. It was more than 35 years, but you got the point. $80 was a lot of money for a 16-year-old. So I signed up. It was during the election. And my mom took me to this micro van because in Japan, minivan's too big for Japanese road. So we have like little micro van. My mom and I got into the micro van, and there was this man, an older guy. And then I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to. Okay, but I did it. This is what I did. 秦野市の皆様、こちらは県会議員候補、久保寺邦夫の宣伝カーでございます。We went on the van and just made that announcement over and over for 45 minutes. That's the work for call girl. And the guy won. So I even made an extra money. I love being a call girl. I wish I could do it again. And that was the best mother and daughter time ever. I have a confession to make. I'm a bilingual. And my son, he only speaks English. So I guess he's a cislingual. And I was so happy. He just started to take Spanish class, Spanish 1. I was so happy because that's an easy A, right? But my son got D- in Spanish 1. I was like, oh my God, how? Ever since he was in kindergarten, I told him A- is an Asian F. D-? I'm like, okay, William, I'm going to send you to Japan. If you don't study hard, Godzilla will come get you. Arr! I think that scared him a little bit because now he's working on Spanish. It's like, tengo hambre. Great. Una casita. That's great. I'm like, oh, good job, William. But una casita means little hut in Spanish. But that also means I'm hungry in Japanese. Yay! Now you are fluent in Japanese. Thanks to me. And I'm your Japanese teacher, Michelle Maluzaki. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you. Thank you so much. And for that Japanese lesson, I'm going to go review the United States map and see what sentences I can string together. Looking forward to it. I'm really excited about your next comedian. I think you are going to absolutely love her all the way from the Upper West Side in Manhattan. Please put your virtual hands together for the very funny Ray Ruben.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So let me just say one thing, that Viagra is ruining getting older for me. Okay. I was hoping for a time in my life where I could have a deep conversation with a guy and know that he wasn't mentally calculating how much he needed to look like he was listening in order to get laid. And I was looking forward to this time in my life when blue balls would not be an issue. You remember blue balls? It was such a big thing. I mean, a guy gets aroused quick, and then if we don't do something quickly, do something about it, he gets the dreaded blue balls, which is essentially a 10-minute ache. It's serious. I mean, far more serious than anything women have to go through every month. 5 days of cramps, 6 days of bleeding, bloating, depression, suicidal thoughts. But it only lasts 45 years. And the consequences of a woman getting aroused, okay, what's that? Nothing. Like the cost of an abortion, the trip to a state where you can actually have one. And if she decides to have the baby, I mean, what, $2-3 million? And that doesn't include college, but hey, it's not blue balls. And I used to think that a lot of men were afraid of commitment. But Viagra really changed my mind about that, because one of the possible side effects of Viagra is death. I mean, to risk that, a guy has to seriously be committed to his dick. So let's look at the other side effects of Viagra and imagine what a guy, that decides to take it, is thinking. All right, headache, worth it. Flushing, I could use a little color. Blurred blue tinge vision. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Woohoo! Nausea. Who cares if everything's blue tinged, man? Runny nose, worth it. Back pain, worth it. Muscle pain, worth it. Dizziness, I'll be lying down already. A rash, hey, scratch my itch, baby. Wait, heart attack, stroke, irregular heartbeat, death? Worth it. And then there's the warning, if a man has an erection that lasts more than 4 hours, he should seek medical attention. What if it's 3.5 hours? Huh? It's blue balls all over again, no matter what you do. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, after 30 minutes, he better be getting better reception through that thing for the TV, because I'm done. Sex and being sexy when you get older, it's just hard. When you're younger, it's so automatic. The pheromones just leap off of you and boom, you got guys, lined up and ready to go. Now, without the hormones sending out that signal, I'm running around going, can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? But look, I'm at a point where I don't really want to work that hard to attract someone. I'm like thongs, for instance. I'm done wearing thongs. I don't need some string dividing my ass like it was a bag of ricotta cheese tied up for draining. All right? I will never understand thong underwear. I mean, a thong is essentially this little rope bridge, between your butthole and your vagina, allowing the nasty bacteria to travel down to your urethra and swell it shut. There is no SEXY in UTI. And another thing, I am done. I'm done wearing bras to push my tits up. Pushing them up has never made sense to me, because it's a lie. It's a lie. You're going to get caught as soon as the guy takes your bra off. And granted, with most guys, that's going to give you another 30, 40 minutes. But even so, from my experience, it's not a deal breaker, because most guys are just like, oh, okay, well, What else you got? You know, bras and all these undergarments that we're supposed to be wearing, they hurt, you know, and how come they're only invented for women? Now there's Spanx. Before there were girdles, before that there were corsets, but they all came with the same pain and the same message. Tie yourself up, bitch. It's not fair because guys, when guys age, they sag too. I mean, but men aren't expected to put up with what we do. You know, you don't see jock straps with underwire, you know, or man boob t-shirt, bra, or beer belly spandex built into the khakis, you know? Yeah, of course not. But talking about tits, all right? My ex-husband once tried to convince me to get breast implants. And I almost gave into the pressure because, you know, I do not have these big juicy papayas on my chest. You know, it's more like fruit roll-ups. And although the, you know, all the media out there doesn't help, all the posts, all the ads, you know, all these women with these perky tits that point towards the ceiling and say, hello. Mine just kind of droop and point towards my crotch and say, insert here. So yes, I did consider implants, but then I started thinking about things that could go wrong and how they can get hard and what happens when you die, you know? Here are the ashes of the dearly departed. And with the tits, we made these lovely commemorative bookends for you. Thank you, that's my time.
Ruben. Ray, that was fantastic. And thank you for the warnings about Viagra. I have to tell my friend, only because he's not here right now, can I tell you this secret? This boy came up from Florida to visit us, and he's so cold that he considered taking a Viagra just to keep his circulation going. So I don't know if that's something else they should mention on there. Just like, don't take this just to stay warm, you idiot. Let's forge ahead. I can't wait for this next comedian. I am very excited to bring you all the way from Des Moines, Iowa. This is the very funny Lisa Rossi.
So I had to go shopping the other day because I'm tired of looking like a high school guidance counselor. And you know, all of the jeans right now, they go up really high to like emphasize like the womb, which is completely backwards. You know, they emphasize the part of my body that created humans instead of the part that got me free drinks. You know, my body changed after the birth of my youngest, Jacob. It sort of stayed in the shape of a pregnant person. And what I learned is that, you know, parts of the baby or the fetus, you know, they leave fragments of themselves behind in the mother's body, which is the perfect way to explain why my stomach never went down after Jacob. This isn't fat. This is leftover Jacob. That explanation really worked when he was a baby. It doesn't work as well now that he is 12. This isn't Jacob. This is a combination of French fries, pad thai, and Chardonnay, or the three major food groups for basic white women. So I've been going to a lot of mom parties, and I've learned something about myself as a result of these parties. I have inside of me exactly just 1 hour of good personality. They're like, she's so nice. Oh, she's so drunk. I was at one of these parties and my friend came up to me and she was like, oh, you know, my son just got into Montessori school. And I was like, oh, that's nothing. I just popped some Xanax and my gums are tingling. So I like to fantasize about my high school English teacher. And yeah, and you know, and to this day, I still get turned on by grammar. You know, when my husband is looking really hot, I'm like, hey, big boy, let's proofread. When he's like, hey, babe, what should we do for date night? I'm like, take out the Scrabble board. You know, when you do that, you really put the D into daddy. Ooh, you just put Xanax down on a double hard score. That gets me hotter than Roget's thesaurus. So I like to look up my old boyfriends on Facebook. And, you know, I think these guys, they're going to grow up and look like Ryan Gosling. Actually, they grow up to look like the guy from the Iowa State Fair with the mullet. So from a small town. And when I meet someone else from a small town, I get competitive about the size. So how big is yours? 900 people? Mine's 950. That's big. Do you have a stoplight? How long does your town festival go? 1 day? Mine's 1 week. That's long. Actually, my town festival goes for 1 week. It's called Fun Days. That's right. In Iowa, we get 1 week of fun. Then it's back to looking outside of the window at the corn. There's also a weekend festival in Iowa. It's called Beef Days, which it does not make sense that that is a weekend. Every day in Iowa is Beef Day. Actually, the state legislature right now they're working on a law that would make it illegal for vegans in Iowa to vote. So I had to go to the chiropractor the other day because I've been feeling really lonely. You know, my husband and I, we just haven't been playing Scrabble lately as much as I would like. And I think he's annoyed with me. You know, maybe I've just been talking about my high school English teacher too much. You know, but to be fair, I just said Mr. Parker's name once last night. Okay, fine. It was during sex. You know, maybe he's annoyed because he found that secret folder on my iPhone entitled Mullets. I just pray to God he doesn't find the one that's called Beef Days. You know, maybe I think it's something that his mother said the last time she came to visit us in our home. She said she thinks it's weird that I feel the need to wear a nurse's costume while the three of us play Scrabble. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience. I'm Lisa Rossi.
Lisa Rossi. I don't think it's weird at all. You know what? You keep going with that. And you've reminded me that one of my biggest turn-ons is the Oxford comma. Oh my gosh. That's the bet. Yes, I see it. We got hearts for the Oxford comma. I'm super excited about your next comedian because she is making her stand-up comedy debut right now for you all the way from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, ride or die Bed-Stuy. I love it. I used to live there. Best place ever. Let's hear it for the very funny April Bennett.
Hi. Thank you so much. I really love the holidays. I think there is something so beautiful about the spirit of the season. And, you know, I am so happy to tell you Halloween is in my heart 365. Truly, all year round. Yeah. I actually wear a mask that says boo on it all year round. And I was at Whole Foods the other day and the cashier looked at me and she said, "Oh, I didn't know it was still Halloween." And I thought to myself, this is someone who is crying out for the kind of joy that I have already found. So I said to her, "I'm Halloween 365 24/7, baby!" And then I grabbed my reusable grocery tote, turned into a bat, and flew away. Yeah. It is hard, I think, these days to read people with everybody wearing masks, but I do think that you can tell a lot about somebody from their mask. You know, KN95. You have your life together. Good for you. You know, a homemade cloth mask. You are crafty and you fear change. Yes. Fringe or rhinestone mask, you're fabulous and drunk. And, nose out, another participation trophy for you. That's very exciting. And, pulls mask down to talk, does not play well with others. I was a very precocious kid. I actually started stand-up in preschool, and this was my opener. Knock, knock. Who's there? Lemon. Lemon who? Lemon, lime, orange, pineapple, banana, cherry. Yeah, it was always fruit, and it always killed. I am a musician, an actor, and a comedian, and that means two things. I travel a lot for my work, and I am mentally ill. And I have clinical depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and complex PTSD, or as I like to call them, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders trifecta. As a crazy person, I've found that traditional treatments, they just really haven't worked for me, but I have found a homeopathic remedy that really has helped me to cope with my crushing self-doubt and dwindling will to live. I cry into cats. Now, consider this. It really is unbeatable. Cats are literally everywhere. By show of hands, who here tonight has a cat? Okay, yep. Oh, no, I see you there. Yeah, see, that's even more than I thought, right? And, you don't have to fill the prescription as often as with meds. A good cat will last you like 12, 18 years. And talk about absorbent. For some reason, I do get a lot of scented gifts, which I hate. It's like getting stabbed in the brain through my nose. And it seems like the flavors are just getting worse all the time. Like, what the hell does river rock smell like? A tropic breeze? That's just a concept. That's not even a smell. Or, my favorite, smoked vanilla and cashmere. Finally, my living room can smell like a sweater that's been rescued from a bakery fire. I actually just saw a line of candles that are scented to smell like different states. And I really would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that pitch meeting, Okay, folks, we've got 50 of these to go. What are we thinking? Just throw them out. Let's do it. Nebraska. Oh, cow shit and secondhand smoke. That's great. I love it. I love the energy. Utah. Candy and moral superiority? Yes! Let's keep going. California. Bong water and charred housing developments? We might want to circle back to that one. Thank you. You've been great. I'm April Bennett.
April Bennett, stand-up comedy debut. Awesome job, April. You got me thinking what New Jersey would smell like. That's my home state. And I've decided pork roll and Italian man cologne, but there needs to be a separate candle just for Secaucus. And I feel like our next comedian will know what I'm talking about when I say that, because he is also from New Jersey. So, before we get to him, I have one quick thing to say while you're all here. I have to tell you about our workshop. It's online. We're doing this online, which means no matter where in the world that you are, you can be part of the American Comedy Institute, work with Steve Rosenfield, and do stand-up comedy with us here at ACI. We have our shows back in person at Gotham, but we also have these online shows every month. But the whole workshop takes place totally online. Our next one's starting up on February 8th. So reach out to, go to info. I want you to go to our website, which is comedyinstitute.com, or send an email to info@comedyinstitute.com, and I'll be there to answer all your questions. Your next comic coming to the screen, also making their stand-up comedy debut. This guy is coming all the way from Spring Lake, New Jersey, probably my favorite state. Give it up for John Gorman.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching tonight. It's funny that the future is really coming at us fast. If you think about it, it wasn't too long ago that if you wanted to look up a fact, you had, let's just say you wanted to find it, are 18-year-olds really seeing less testosterone in males? Or what are the side effects of certain vaccinations? Well, that information was not readily available. Today, it's very easily accessible because we have, Joe Rogan. I mean, who wouldn't want to get their medical advice from a guy who dropped out of UMass Dorchester a semester and a half into college? So I've been thinking about the Ten Commandments, and I think 3 of them are just really rock solid, right? Don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery. But the other 7, they really could use a little work if we want to make them something that's really relatable to people in their everyday life. For example, I think we're setting the bar very high at honor thy mother and thy father. Perhaps more realistic, honor thy mother and thy father, except when they're both acting like idiots. I have a tweak for don't covet thy neighbor's wife blatantly. For don't bear false witness against your neighbor, get a lawyer and have him do it. So I've got about 4, there are 4 more commandments I'm still working ideas on. That's going to be in my next show. So for your spiritual health, I would recommend you see it. But the reality is, I'm actually really not that religious, but I do know people who are. And, what they do is when they pray to Jesus. And I think, quite often they're very disappointed or frustrated when they feel that their prayers aren't being answered. And I kind of want to say to them, come on. He's got a pretty full plate. It's very top heavy organization up there, right? You got what? 10,000 saints, 10,000 saints, all reporting to the same guy. With that kind of organizational structure, these guys have very limited authority and no accountability. And the Holy Ghost, no one has a clue what that guy does all day. So it got me to thinking that maybe prayer has become a little outdated. And, you see evidence on social media all the time, people wishing their mother, happy birthday in heaven, mom, or they're thanking their dead grandfather for his military service in World War II. So it's one of those things where, maybe all these prayers are going unanswered because heaven has gone digital. And you're worried about Google and Facebook having too much of your data. So, I actually had some good news today. I took one of these online tests, are you a narcissist? And I aced it. I got a new dog recently, and he's a little guy. He came from the breeder, and they said he was fully trained. And he's adorable, but fully trained? No. The problem with him is he's really not what you might call woke. And there's just this behavior of the sniffing, so inappropriate, the licking, the mounting. What I'm afraid of is one day he's going to hump the wrong German Shepherd and get canceled entirely. So in any case, these are some things that were that have been on my mind. I really do appreciate everybody taking the time out to see the show tonight. And please enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Yeah, John Gorman. Second all of that. Thank you for watching, and great set, John. And you have got me thinking about all my prayers that have ended up in heaven's spam. I know they're in the spam folder. That makes sense now. Perfect sense. Thank you. Your next comic coming to the screen, all the way from Chicago, Illinois. This guy, he's great. You're going to love him very much. So please put your virtual hands together for Jimmy Carrane.
So my wife and I, we couldn't get pregnant. And so we went to this fertility doctor, and he said that, he checked us out, and he said the problem was with me. And he said the only way we probably could get pregnant is, with a sperm donor. So my wife's like, sperm donor? And then she goes, well, that's a great idea. She said, we can get your brother because he's taller and more successful. Or your friend Kyle, he's really hot and he's hilarious. Or even better, we could get Derek, Melissa's husband. And because he checks off all the boxes. He's an architect, he's athletic, and he's got that floppy hair, and he'd love to help me get pregnant. And at this point, I was thinking, I either need to get a second opinion or a divorce attorney. So we got a second opinion, and this doctor said that they could fix my problem with getting me on some supplements, and then not getting any heat down in my crotch area, and which he said that means no saunas and no hot baths, which I don't have many hobbies, but he just wiped out both of them. So we started the fertility treatment, and my wife, it was so easy for her. All she had to do was get up and give herself 2 shots. But me, it was not easy. I had to go through the entire day, trying to figure out how I was going to stay out of the tub. So we did these treatments for like a year and a half, and none of them worked. And I was losing hope, that I'd ever take a bath again. So the doctor said to us, he said, I'm going to try a more aggressive procedure this time. So, what they were doing is they would take my sperm and they would mix it with Lauren's eggs, and then they would put it in her using one of those turkey basters. Now, they didn't call it a turkey baster because they called it like some fancy medical term, because basically you're spending a lot of money to do something you could do in your own kitchen. So after that, we had to wait 10 business days to get the results, and then they called us with a recorded message. And the person who called us sounded so excited. I thought we had won a free cruise, but it turned out we were just pregnant. So the first thing that my wife wanted to do was she wanted to run out to to buy one of these baby car seats, for the baby. And I said we don't need to buy one because my parents had 5 kids and we never had a car seat, and my wife was like, well, it doesn't sound like they really cared about your safety. And I'm like, oh yes, they did. My dad, every time he pulled down the highway, he would say, if something happens back there, hold on to your sister. So I said, Lauren, I don't think we really need, to get a car seat right now. We don't need to rush out. And she said, are you kidding me? Do you know that we can't take a baby home from the hospital unless there's a car seat in the car? And honestly, I didn't know that, I was planning on using a nice box. So we went to this store. It was called Bye Bye Baby. It's one of these big box stores, and it's in a mall next to one of those cheesecake factories. And she found this car seat that was $375 because she wanted one with cup holders, because you don't want your baby handling hot beverages. So there was one problem. We couldn't find, there was one on display, but there wasn't any on the shelves. So she said something to me that I realized that she had never been in a big box store before. She said, go find someone to help us. So of course there's nobody around. And finally I find this high school kid, and he's got a name badge on. And I said, are you the person that I need to talk to about car seats? And he said, no, that would be Marty. And I said, well, where can I find him? And he said, he's next door at the Cheesecake Factory. And I said, well, could you go and find him? And he said, no, because he's out for his birthday. And a couple of us are going to go join him after work. So I'm like, well, you're a big help. And then it got real. And he goes, thanks, man. I've been here for 4 years and I've never gotten a compliment before. And then he goes, hey, if you and your wife want to join us next door, I think Marty would be cool with that. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Jimmy Carrane. Jimmy, I know you two made Marty's birthday special. I know. And a good box. I see no reason why you can't put a baby in a good box, especially if you load it up with some rolls from the Cheesecake Factory. No one's getting hurt in that scenario. No one ever. Stratton.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm so excited to be here. I am a bit nervous, though, because my new boyfriend's watching. That's right. If you're out there, call me. I'll be available after the show. All right? So recently, I went to get my eyebrows cleaned up a bit, and I walked into the studio and I said, hi, my name is Holly. And the girl says, hi, my name is Ivy. And I'm like, really? Or are you just trying to one-up me on my Bush name game? So I was at a bar recently, and this guy runs up to me and he says, oh my God, you look just like Sarah Palin. He said, I should know. I watch a lot of Pornhub. Who's nailing Palin? And I said, you buy me 2 drinks and you could be hammering Holly. So recently I went to a party and I was bragging that I am the bowling national champion of Canada from 1984. And this really pretty lady says, oh my gosh, I love bowling, but I can't bowl because I'm left-handed. They don't make left-handed bowling balls. And I'm like, oh, really? So I went and asked my friend who this lady was. And she said, oh, she's a top surgeon in the area here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I'm like, holy mackerel, can you imagine her doing surgery in the operating room? Scalpel, the left-handed one. I'm like, whew. So I moved to Texas recently from New York City, and I am in awe. I rented an entire house, and at the end of the month, I still have money to eat. Yeah. So last winter, we had this Texas storm. Nothing moves. Snow, 3 days. Nothing. In 20 years, they haven't seen this much snow. And I walk out of my front door, just moving to the area, and the guy next door yells to me, hey, how are your pipes? And I said, none of your fucking business. And I walk back in. Oh, I never met my neighbors in New York. Crazy. So when I moved here, I actually lived with my friend Mary for a few months, and Mary's daughter was engaged. One day she runs into the room and she's got this knife, and she found out her fiance was cheating on her. And her mom grabbed the knife and said, you can't leave the house with that thing. And she sharpens it and hands it back to her and says, go make your mama proud. But then she thought, oh my goodness, come here, come back. You just got your master's degree. Give that knife to your sister. She only has a GED. Let her fuck up her life. So my mom and dad got married when they were 17, and I came along 5 months later. When I figured out this math, I told my friends, my name's not really Holly Lynn Van Stratton, it's Holly Backseat Van Stratton. My mom overheard me, and she said, if I hear you tell that story one more time, I'm going to tell you what really happened in the back of that Dodge Ram van in that miracle minute. My mom and dad are still madly in love, married for 53 years to each other. They make it easy for me to remember how old I'm going to be next month, 53. They still hold hands, they kiss. They still laugh at each other's jokes when they can hear them. My brother married his high school sweetheart. They've been married 25 years and have given my parents their 2 only beautiful grandchildren. But I'm not jealous, because I'll always be mom and dad's first fuck trophy. Yeah, so I have an addiction, actually. I'm attracted and addicted to men in uniform. Yeah. So I saw this hot Marine at a bar once, and I walked up to him and I asked him to dance. Well, I also grew up and I wanted to be a cop, okay? But I went through all the classes, all of the training, and I failed the freaking eye exam because I have this crooked eye right here, okay? So when I asked the Marine to dance, he looked over his right shoulder at the guy behind him where my eye was looking. And I grabbed his arm and I said, I'm talking to you. So we danced. We got married 4 months later. That was a fucking disaster. But I learned one thing: always trust my crooked eye. So I've always had one constant with this eye. It's this blind spot right here. I've constantly, my whole life, walked into door frames, walls, other people's marriages. Yeah, my eyes, they don't work together. One bosses the other one around, like one sub and one dom. Yeah, but they do work together when I see something I like a chili cheese burrito from Taco Bell, or a Macy's 30% coupon, or a hot fireman. So currently I'm dating that hot fireman who wears a uniform. Yeah. So we're in our 50s now, and I like to role play. So we're in bed, and he suggested that not every night we have to role play. So he asked me to stop saying, please slide down my pole and into your hole. And I said, okay, is there anything else that bothers you? And he said, yeah, can you stop saying unravel that hose and come on, put up my bush fire? I said, okay, but is it still okay if I say, park that big red truck because I want to fuck? He said no, but I still say it. I mean, going back to the dub and the sub and dom. So let's see, we have any sports fans or sports, I love to play sports. So right now, recently in Texas, warm weather, I love to water ski. And in the summer, I went water skiing, and I'm a very active 52, almost 53-year-old. And, but I had no idea my legs can open up quite that wide. Yeah, I'm still dripping lake water. And I'm just going to say we're lucky that this is an online show, because if not, there'd be a lot of splashback. So last week I was at the mall, and this young, hot kid calls me a MILF, like a mother I'd like to fuck. Okay. And I kind of got closer and I said, how dare you? You don't know me. I don't have kids. And I walked up closer to him and I said, but if you and I were to have sex, you'd be the closest thing for me to having a baby inside of me. I'm Holly Van Stratton. Love you all. Thank you for joining.
Holly, no, love you right back. That was our show. Thank you all so much for watching wherever you were from your own personal comedy club, which, yes, I hope you still adhered to the 2-drink minimum that usually exists. That hopefully was a thing. Don't forget Holly's phone number is available. I'll put it in the chat. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We do this every single month. We have our online shows. We have our workshops online. So be sure to go to comedyinstitute.com to learn more about our workshops, about Steve Rosenfield, and get signed up to be part of the American Comedy Institute. And also our live shows are every single month. We're back at Gotham Comedy Club. So if you're in New York City, please come see one of our shows. We'd love to see you there. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and bye. Thank you for watching, everyone.